everybody. Welcome to Piercing the Veil.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome
Well, tonight
back.
tonight we have Eric Wood from Paranormal Highway, and we have his brother along with him, Dr. Wu, to talk about their Bigfoot experience. And we'll get into that. But we just wanted to say hi to everybody in chat before we get started, and glad you all came in.
Yeah, we got a good crowd. I see Gary, Spiritual Odyssey, Susie BBBBB. I see Brandy Haywood. I see No. There was Lulu, Rosa, Pixie. Am I missing anybody?
Saucy Sue.
Owsy Sue. Welcome, everyone. Well, I guess everyone knows both of these brothers.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't watched them already, I mean, Paranormal Highway, Eric is on all the time, it seems like, during the day and pops on sometimes in the afternoon. And then we have his brother, Robert T. Wood, which is Dr. Wu. And he's on in the evenings.
Pretty much
And,
every night.
and he's just a blast. I mean, they're just both awesome. And we got them to come on tonight, and they're gonna tell us about their Bigfoot experience. And well, let's go ahead and bring them on and get into this.
All right.
Man, guys, seriously, like right when you put us downstage, I was messing on Google Chrome, lost StreamYard. Then I tried to click back on it, and it would just spin in a circle. It wouldn't let me come back in with Google Chrome. So I had to pull up my Brave browser because I don't know what it is with StreamYard and Google Chrome. It doesn't work well.
Yeah. We use
Yeah,
Brave.
we switched to Brave.
Yep. We've had no problems with Brave.
There is no issue with Brave.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I got rid of StreamYard. I went with the company Restream instead. So and it works fine on Chrome, but you know, enough of that. Everybody's like, "Hey, we're talking about Chromes and Brave." Of course we are.
Well, welcome back. I know the first time we talked about you guys' adventure out in the field. And
Bob knows this. You know, when Bob came out and we went to the place called the Devil's Hand.
I did not come out. I'm not gay. What are you talking about?
Okay. When Bob
came out?
When Bob flew to Washington.
Need to fix that.
I picked him up and we went on the Devil's Trail and
I was wearing a dress.
You were wearing a dress and we put the video out.
Apparently I came out.
And ever since I started playing with that portal again, of course Bob knows bad things just keep happening. Just like last night, I took the wife somewhere and I couldn't find the car keys.
Oh.
And found out the car key was underneath the car seat. Somehow we got locked out of the car with the, and it's just like, is the devil's hand messing with me? Why does it keep? Because of all places, did I drop the keys like in my seat? Somehow it was under the seat.
Because he didn't smudge it, man. You're supposed to like say a prayer. Now I left tobacco, dude.
You did. Bob left tobacco.
I left tobacco, man. I stuck the tobacco in the damn tree and I said, you got to leave something behind, dude. They're going to follow you back. I told you, man. He thinks Eric's a great guy. And he really gets into the paranormal, but he don't listen to Turtle when it comes down to the basics, when it comes to like dark magic and stupid stuff. I get it. I debunk, but still, if these people do it, I'm doing it too. Leave tobacco behind, man. You gotta leave something behind for him.
What Bob's talking about is he gave the devil, the spirit of Devil's Hand, a gift of tobacco. So they don't leave him alone. And I did not leave a gift, and I've been having bad things happen.
Well, I did that when I was in England. I did all the cemeteries and stuff, and we had a lot of stuff go on. And oh my gosh, I left. I took a cigarette. Now I don't advocate smoking, but however, It does kill the coronavirus. I'm not saying that, even though statistically it does, because I went to school and I've looked at all the paperwork. Anyway, I take the filter off, put it in my pocket so I don't leave a filter behind because that's dirty. You don't want to do that. I take the tobacco and I leave it inside of whatever it is that I'm leaving, and I say, I'm leaving you a gift of tobacco. It worked for the indigenous peoples, and it worked for me. And even in England, I didn't have any problems afterwards. Did the same thing at the Devil's Hand. Eric, leave something behind.
Even one of my lighting systems just broke, and it's just like, what is going on?
Well, they'll follow you back.
Seriously, think. I need Amber's Pararoll. I see her in the chat.
Yep. Amber's here.
I'm gonna need her. Which look, I got Amber's Paraword book.
We do too.
To tell me if did I bring home a possession? Because since, I'm not lying, I had to get cancer removed from the head. It's just like, right after the other, like,
yeah. Well, you got iron blood too. You got iron blood. You're an RH positive, so you can't be stepping inside of portals, man. It's only for copper bloods, because we could take more energy. We could take the energy, and they don't mess with us. I said, stay out of it, dude. Don't get in the hand. You got inside the hand.
You know what? I forgot, Bob. I was actually going to get retested for the blood because it was the military who said I'm O positive. I'm always curious, like, are they covering up something?
Well, yeah, that's a Mandela effect. Eric and I have a massive Mandela effect because I'm an O negative. He was an O negative, and my older brother was an O negative, and transitioned to a girl, whatever. Anyway, my older brother. And then all of a sudden, in like 2016 or whatever, as I go to Eric's, I started asking all these weird questions because all my history's changed. Everything's weird, man. Like everything has changed. And I said, "What's your blood type?" And Eric's like, "Let me think about it. I'm O negative." I said, "Okay, well, check your stuff." And Eric wouldn't check the stuff because I
checked my military card.
A lot of people that I have met, one of the biggest things that they're scared about it, their Mandela effect, was their blood type changed. And I said, "What?"
Oh,
it says all positive here.
Yeah, and so I go, check your blood type, man. I'm just curious, dude. And he wouldn't check his card and his military card, and he says, "Nah, it says positive." I said, "That's impossible, dude, because Dad gave us the same speech, man. Because when you're going in the military and you're a negative, you gotta know that because it's on your dog tag. It's on my dog tag. I carry it with me that if I ever get in a situation where I need blood, because you might be the only 3 people on the entire ship or whatever is that has that blood type. But they need to know it. You need to know it, or you could die. I mean, it's like a low percentage. And so I knew it when I asked Eric. Eric says his is a positive. Then we went and checked Mike's, and Mike's changed too.
Wow.
What the hell?
That's crazy.
I mean, that's what the military said. I should get it rechecked just to make sure.
Everybody should now. Because I come across so many people that have sent me emails and they're like in a frantic of like panic. I'm like, why are you panicking? Because my blood type changed. I said, well, how do you know it's changed? It's obviously always been that way. You're mentally ill.
You know what sucks? Now? This will suck. If you give blood work, for whatever reason, to blood work to any hospital, they will not tell you if you're O positive or O negative. You have to ask them for a blood type. And a lot of insurance now will not pay to find out what your blood type is. Yeah, isn't that messed up?
Really?
They used to.
Yes.
Everybody,
they used to, but they don't tell you no
knew
more.
their blood types.
You have to
Everybody,
ask for it.
It always came out. Even at the kids were born, I knew my kids' blood type when they were born. I already knew it, so I already got prepared for whatever because they're both negatives, and so I had to be. One of them's an A. They're both AB negatives. That's what I'm saying. So they're both AB negatives. So that's super, 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 super rare. So now I tell them, kids, you need to wear they're not kids anymore. They're adults. I said, I don't care what it is. You got to wear a bracelet or a necklace that says your blood type. It's AB negative, and because it's rare. And people were sending me things saying that, nah, they went to the hospital and they said, we don't give those out anymore. I'm like, you don't give out people's blood types?
Not no more.
When?
Look, everybody in the chat said when they gave blood like 20 years ago, they used to tell you your blood type. But a month ago, I had to give all this blood to the military, to the VA hospital, because sometimes they'll call you in, and when they draw blood, they draw blood.
Yeah.
And of all the blood that they drawn, nothing on the paperwork that said what my blood type is. And I asked them, where's my blood type? Oh, you have to ask for it, and the insurance don't cover that, so you'll have to pay like $150 or something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Karen said that too. We were on her show, remember? from
Yes.
Canada, and she was like, I asked
Aaron
her
Ultra
blood.
TV.
Yeah, I asked her, and she goes, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. And she wasn't lying. She says they don't tell you your blood type in Canada. I said, when is this happen? What? How do you? That's your life and death right there. That's like
Wow.
you're laying there bleeding out for whatever reason. Somebody shot you. It can happen nowadays, and you're bleeding out. You need to know it right there, so they can give it to you right there, like right there, before you die. And now they don't know it. I'm like, okay, well, there's a dead giveaway. They want to kill all the human race off. They don't want you to know.
And
Okay.
you want to know how you know you're still having bad luck? On Saturday, my mailbox, the VA sent me a kit because they want me to poop in this thing because they want to find colon cancer. I'm like, no, this is like bad luck. I know if I do this, I'm going to
need to
hear
do that,
something
man.
bad news. I'm
They're
like,
gonna-
really?
They're gonna roto-rooty you, man. Oh yeah, get it in there. Freaking. Yeah.
They want me to do a kit.
You gonna cut out your polyps.
It
Have a
says you
shovel
have
for this
48 hours to get this back to us. Oh, come on.
You should do it, man. I'm curious. I'm curious if you're dying. I want to see.
I think I hear a dog. Hold on.
I say feed it to your dog and send his poop in.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like those genetic tests you get for the fun of it, right? If they were when they were really really cheap, or someone buys you for a gift. I take the dog's DNA and I mix it up with a fish or whatever stupid thing, and I mix it all together and I send it off and see what they come back with.
It was a cat.
They said you're Armenian. Oh, I'm Armenian. It's half. Never mind. I don't want to. It's a bad joke. But
I think
yeah,
somebody in the chat. Somebody in the chat
What?
gave us a prize for that blood check. I think I missed it.
What is the price? Is there a price for blood checks?
I think Amber was it Amber? Somebody put.
I think Susie B said it's really cheap on Amazon. But was there a price too?
Oh, they have
$12.25 on Amazon.
Of course, Amazon.
Oh, are you kidding? Wow.
Kit. They got a kit.
Of course, Amazon, right?
Well, yeah. Well, you know what people don't know is, and people don't know what about in history, that if you're a Catholic, right, Catholicism, and where we're raised with them, our grandfather was Catholic, then he became a minister. He left the church so he can get married and have babies. So anyway, we still have that kind of rolling in our system. We're kind of half Catholic a little bit. And back in the day, when you go to get married with a girl, you got to sit with the priest and they got to have a blood test done. Because if she is an RH negative and he's an RH positive, they will not sanction that marriage. They will not sanction that marriage.
You're talking about our cousin Davey. Because he actually he could not get married in California without seeing a psychiatrist or whatever. So they actually did it in Vegas so they could bypass it all.
Yeah, because she'll miscarry. And so churches won't sanction that. So even early, I mean, way back in the early Catholicisms, they were able to check blood types. People were like, no, they didn't. They didn't have A, B, or O or anything. They had a different freaking set of whatevers, but they didn't have that until modern days. But they knew that you were not compatible by that. So you could not get married to the female.
My wife and I got married in Washington, and I guess our blood type doesn't match.
No.
So she had to get that big-ass green RH shot.
Yeah, I have no memory of that.
You guys know, I don't know if a lot of people don't know an RH shot. It's big, and it's thick, and doesn't feel good for the woman.
And statistically, the children come out with autisms, and they come out with all those different names for whatever. It's all ADHD. Anything they make up across the board, it's all BS anyway. But all the gals that got them shots, them babies come out with a little bit of problems. What's that other one, Eric? What's that one? Asperger's. Asperger's.
Oh, you're talking about the Facebook guy, Zuckerberg.
Well, yeah, Asperger's is another thing that they children will have if
Down
they
syndrome?
yeah,
Zuckerberg has Asperger's.
Yeah, it's Asperger's, but I just say it wrong. Eric, don't say it wrong because I'm just saying it wrong on purpose. Don't walk around telling everyone you got Asperger's. Nobody repeat me. Don't repeat what I say. Don't say Asperger's. That's not how you pronounce it. I'm making this. That's me just being sarcastic. Asperger's. But yeah, a high rate of Asperger's for women that have the shots, the RNA shots. Yeah. Wow, it's bad. Well, we went way off subject. What was the question? What was the question?
Some about Bigfoot. I'm not positive, but
Eric.
no. Eric started talking about his bad luck.
Yeah.
Somebody went off on
Yeah.
a blood
Yeah,
type.
Yeah, his devil gave him a hand job. Right, Eric?
Well,
You have
Hey,
to go
who
down
knows?
to Georgia for that.
Yeah,
hey, who
right.
knows if I make it through this today? Who knows? Something might fall on my head. All we know.
Well, you'll have video of it anyway.
Yeah, we'll have proof.
I'm all
Send it to your
messed up.
insurance company.
Yeah, they God, this everything's my collar's all. I'm wearing a jerkin. It's a battle dress. It's the British issued in World War I, World War II field dressing. I'm preparing for war because right now we joke about it, but England is starting a citizens' army, and since technically I'm the king of England, I'm preparing for war. I'm gonna go to England and fight with them. We're gonna fight Russians.
I got to tell people, people in the chat, that they don't know this, that we actually, Bob and I did a show a long time ago about DNA trace of our family history that lines up to actually be the king and be the king of England. Our bloodline actually goes to that point. So when Bob says that, he's not technically joking, because we did a bloodline that we were supposed to be in line. And we even show newspaper articles of our family members, even themselves showing the bloodline that it should have went to us, but because of the family taking over, like killed off our family tree, they took over. So Bob should be the king, and I should be the prince.
It's supposed to go to the Evans family.
Oh
unless
my.
Bob finds accidentally fall down the stairs, then I become king.
Well, Mike died, so Mike's dead, so that puts me in the next lineup. And then the guy that
hold on. If he did survive, remember he was transitioning to a woman, so you can still be king.
Nah, he's got ashes in your house. I saw his ashes.
Yeah, it's right over there.
Dead as a doornail. He died with his high heels on, man, like any other cowboy would do. He was transitioning.
Hey, actually, let me tell you guys a little paranormal story.
Our older brother died with his high heels on.
When our brother passed away, he had a fancy Ouija board. I mean, it was not a Parker Brothers Ouija board. This was a very first class looking Ouija board, and when we found it in his room, we didn't want the Ouija board in his house no more because he passed. Bad luck, right?
It's still
he passed away. So we actually threw it away. Then we threw it in the garbage.
I know you did.
Into the garbage, and then the next day, that Ouija board was back in the room.
You got Annabelle.
We got Annabelle.
Wow.
You got Annabelle.
And I remember we asked everybody, somebody playing a joke, because it's not a funny joke to grab a Ouija board and put it back.
Right.
Nobody said they touched it.
But you haven't
threw it away
smudged
again.
your house yet.
No. And we threw it away again. Again, the very next day, it was right back in the room.
Because you did not smudge your house, dude.
What?
Wow.
Now,
smudge your house.
Well, what we kind of did was we sent one of our kids into one of the churches down the road to grab some holy water.
So that'll work.
So we throw some holy water and we burnt it into a fire in the backyard. Now it never came. Then we buried it somewhere, not in our backyard. We buried it up in the park, not where the devil's hand is. Maybe I should have buried it there.
You need sage and you need to smudge corners, because people don't understand the big difference between us and them on the other side. They are two-dimensional beings and we are three-dimensional, which means we have form, which means we're around and we have figures and we can pick things up and we can go like this because it's all smooth and round. They're two-dimensional beings, which means they follow lines, which means they follow like lines of your, if they're in a box, they'll hide in the corner of your room, which is where the room, two lines meet together to make a corner. So they follow lines. That's why when people do magic, they have stars and symbols, because they're two-dimensional beings that follow symbols. They follow lines. They're only two-dimensional. And people say, what's a two-dimensional concept? Well, these are two-dimensional beings. It's like we're physical. You take a piece of paper and you draw a picture of a stick figure. Well, that's them. They're two-dimensional, and they follow lines. So you got to smudge everything in your house. Like you got to walk the whole corners and then hold it up in the corner and keep it there because that's where those bastards like to hide. And then walk around the house and keep smudging everything. And then you got to feng shui stuff, which is another weird thing to do, but it works. Eric needs to do that. I keep telling him, you need to go get some sage, man. I think there's some Samoan. I'm not lying, Eric. It's not a joke. There's some Samoans that are Christians that smudge houses. You need to go, and also they do really kick-ass barbecue. So.
Down the road.
That's true.
Oh, no, remember down the road.
Yeah, they smudge
every spring and summer. There's a Samoan church down the road, and they do huli chicken on every Saturday. And it's and maybe I should go down there because I'm a regular.
Smudge.
And ask them to smudge my house.
Yeah, they do a hell of a chicken on barbecue, and they smudge. Great beans.
What a business.
Yeah, it's smart too.
Maybe they'll give you some barbecue sauce to wipe on your threshold too.
No, probably will. Probably on your threshold before you come in, you'll probably got some kick-ass barbecue. It's been blessed. Christian chicken, man. What's better than that? Like,
Oh my
Jessica,
God.
the Cryptus Hunter, said hi to all of us in here.
Hey, Jessica.
Oh, she's great. She's been on with me a couple of times with Bob. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, well, not funny, but
She's been on me.
you know, if Amber Paraworld's still in the chat, she might remember this. I remember she was on my show doing a live show, and she goes, "Eric, after the show, can I talk to you?" I'll say, "Yeah, no problem." So the show was over. Everybody left. She was just talking to me. She's like, "You know, there's a person standing next to you."
What's her cup size?
And she was like, "What?" She was telling me what the person looks like. I'm like, "Okay, tell me what the person looks like." You know what? Amber Paraworld is there. She's right there.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Well, I remember it's like a kind of a male female because my brother became a sister, so it makes sense." And then she goes, "But it has this big hole like right here on top of the forehead." Well, what she described was my brother had this deep cancer, and he had to get this operation, and he had this big like circle hole in his forehead. It never showed it. Like she never been on my show, and Amber nailed it. Like I get there's some mediums, Mike. There's some fakers out there or stuff, and they're trying to figure out some clues to try to trick you. But when she said exactly about this hole, we never went on air and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we have a brother that has this big cancer hole right here."
Wow.
But she described it, and it was like, wow. I mean, it just, you know, it's one of those like nobody knew
knows.
that.
Yeah, because
Just
he wore a wig, so it was disgusting.
When he became a woman, she wore a wig, so you never saw it.
Yeah, they put his
And
ass
he
cheek
never been
on
on my
his
show,
head.
so nobody knew.
They put his ass cheek on his head, so they took a big lop of skin off, and they like took a piece of his ass cheek and put it on his head. I used to call him ass head, man. I said, "Dude, does your head stink? Your head smells like ass."
Yeah, they did that skin graft. They had to do that
Shut
skin
up, man.
graft.
And now, seriously, dude, do you wipe your fucking head? Do you have tissue for your head? What does that work? How's that work? Shut up, man. You know, but he laughed.
Right.
The best cure for cancer is laughing. So he got over it.
But isn't that stuff trippy, right? I mean, you can't make
Yeah.
that stuff up. It just like happens,
Wow.
and it's just like
People always say I have the Queen of England behind me all the time.
That's
That's
'cause
fucking-
you're
I've seen her. I've seen her.
You've seen her?
Yeah. I've watched your show before.
Oh, shit.
You need to change your name to King Wu.
King
Right.
Wu.
Oh, whoa, no. Dr. Wu was a joke name because Wood is Dr. Wood, whatever, and then people were saying they just stopped saying the W and they kept saying Woo because it sounds funnier, and I'm like, okay, Dr. Wu. But I used to go under the name Crow, and then it was King Robert Wood, and so somebody was like putting in Crow in the sidebar. I go, I'm not a crow. They go, no, King Robert Wood, and I go, oh, that's badass. I like that. That's cool. So I was going by Crow for a little while, but I'm not vain like that. I don't want to be like, because every other person is Crow. Like every other person is like, they watch that movie and they think they're that person. It's kind of like what's that other movie? Good Will Hunting. Like I hate every fucking guy that I meet thinks they're like Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting, like they're smart. I'm like, oh really? Okay, tell me something smart, Good Will Hunting. Like every guy has that freaking movie, and I'm like, I hated that movie. I hated it. I'm like, I couldn't stand that movie. But every guy either has the Good Will Hunting movie DVD or whatever, and they also have Peter Frampton live album, and I have that too, so I can't complain. Every guy has Peter Frampton live and then Good Will Hunting.
I don't have Good Will Hunting.
Thank God. Oh.
I don't want to be depressed.
Yeah, that movie's sad. Like I don't get it.
It is sad. Because either way, you're sad because he's a genius. You're not a genius like him, so you're sad because of that.
He's a fucking janitor. He wasn't even smart. He was quoting something out of a book. So he's quoting out of a book for another guy that's quoting out of a book. So you got two guys quoting out of a book. For what? For one chick? I'm like, seriously, you guys are both idiots. And he's writing on the chalkboard. He's like I'm going to do geometry and I'll do that too. I'll go up and freaking write some dumb stuff. I'll write E equals MC fart or something stupid. I built a time machine. I can freaking do it. I'm a janitor. Feel sorry for me. I'm whining like a little girl. I'm going to write chalk and I work at a college. I'm a wimp.
Then they try to give him the break code for the government.
Right? Yeah.
Of course, right?
Yeah,
government finds out you're a genius. They want you for them.
Oh yeah, cryptologists. Yeah, we had them on our ship. That was an intelligence ship. We had cryptologists, and they would break codes. It's kind of fun. Codes are fun. In fact, a lot of people talk about we're living. And I don't like that word. Was it called simulation theory? Because that's just present. You always subject yourself to whatever movies and whatever's in your brain. So the new word is simulation theory. 100 years ago, it was another thing. Or 100 years, everybody has it. Now it's the Matrix. Nah, it's just another stupid-ass thing. But the indigenous people called it sign. It's just sign. It's not Matrix. It's
you mean
just
we're
sign.
Not living in the Matrix?
Nah, when a crow lands in front of you with like a branch in its mouth and it's completely out of context and it's absolutely stupid and like that don't make sense. That's just a sign.
No, I agree with you. I remember I always kept saying that if we were living in the Matrix, and I'm fucking pissed off because he gave me a shitty life. If this is a Matrix, how come it could have given me
he gave you
whatever I want?
He gave you a great life. I always tell people because my Eric, I'm his brother, so I had the same life, and I loved my life. And I always tell people, what would you want? You want to come back like, okay, I want to be like the richest man in the world, and then what? What challenges do you have? Well, you have another person wiping your poo-poo. What challenge is that? Where's the stress? What have you learned from the stress? What, gods or God or whatever your lampshade or whatever your forte is for religion is, it gives you a boot camp to live through, and you enjoy that boot camp and you learn from it. You constantly learn. Because a hamburger doesn't taste good until you're broke and don't have it for a long time. Like, I love McDonald's, but I don't have it every day. When I get paid once a month from disability, I go to McDonald's, and that's a hell of a tasting Big Mac. Right? As in the rich people can have it any day they want. Right? It don't taste good to them. Life tastes like shit to them. It's so bad that they got to go out and do dumb things to get a high. I mean, imagine the ability to have so much money you can buy any car you want, or you could be like Elon Musk and have 1950s rockets that do nothing. They're completely stupid. Like, I know aerodynamics. Like, that is dumb. That's a 1950s rocket. What is the weird shape on top? Isn't that like drag on aerodynamics? That's fake. So the dude has.
Oh, it's Flash Gordon, the movie, not Flash Gordon.
Yeah, it looked like Flash Gordon. Yeah.
Flash Gordon.
Trump gave him.
Everybody older in the chat will know what I'm talking about.
Well, Trump gave him $4.9 billion for SpaceX. I go, what would you give this man $4.9 billion for doing anything to build 1950 space rockets? He's done nothing. He's got balloons up there with freaking antennas on them. I go, come on. $4.9 billion.
But you know,
I'm sorry.
Bob's not kidding. He's right. You know, the type
Yeah.
of life that we live, you kind of had to learn how to kind of like live off the land. You know,
Yeah, you
when we were kids, we were actually living in a apartment complex that was for illegal aliens coming.
Well, yeah, it was an
coming
immigrant camp
It was an immigrant camp that we actually lived in because
for immigrant workers.
the mom left, whatever. We had nothing, so we actually lived like in a camp next to
Immigrant camp.
an auction. Every Sunday there was an auction, and I mean it was just another life. I mean,
It's an immigrant camp. That's the bottom line name.
Because one of the things you learn is you know why are people? I'm not saying mean animals or why did they this and
Moonshine.
what I'm trying to get at is when we're growing up, right? There's an auction, and every Sunday they had chicken fights. Every Sunday,
rooster fights.
the red
Rooster fights.
the red versus the blue, right?
Yeah.
And when you're a kid,
Yeah.
we didn't know there was anything wrong with it.
Mm-mm.
I mean, everybody does it every Sunday, you know.
I still don't.
And you know, everybody's betting money like, oh, can I put $5 on the red? Then of course later on in life you learn from school like that's not a good thing. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I still think I don't mind it. I don't care. I'll have rooster.
But
fights.
you know what I mean? I mean, when you grow up, you know, you
Right,
only know what you grow up. So sometimes
You
when
don't know
people
any
blame,
difference.
when people blame other people for stuff, it's like, you know, they might have grown up a certain way that they didn't know it was considered bad.
Yeah.
Unless somebody tells you, and when you're living like a poor world like us, cops, nobody gives a crap about us. You know,
They used to.
They're like, if they're talking to us, Bob's gonna get arrested. You know.
Well, I used to watch them spar too. That was the funnest thing as a kid, is watching roosters spar. They do spar. People are like, no, they don't. Yeah, they do. They used to take. They have these special equipment for their talons, and it's like boxing gloves. They're soft, little cushions, and they hit each other with like boxing gloves, like they spar. And I'm like, and they're sizing up the roosters to see which one's going to be whatever's, and then they take off the gloves and let them do whatever they do. But you know, they're gonna make soup out of them anyway. You know, you're gonna either eat them now or later. You might as well let them fight it out.
And then when all the other kids go to Disneyland and stuff, we always went in the mountains. We always went hunting every year. You know, every single year we're in the mountains with our whole family. You know, that was our vacation. That was our home. Our second home was in the mountains, up in the Poison Meadows, A Zone, and sometimes we'll camp at D Zone, more of a desert type of mountains.
Well, it's the grocery store.
Now, is that when you had your Bigfoot experience?
That was up in A Zone, yeah, because we go camping in a place called Poison Meadows. It's basically we camp right next to a beautiful green meadow where wildlife has, you know, and nobody else camped next to. There's like no neighbors. There's no neighbors unless you go like 2-3 miles down the road. It was like our camp. And Bob will tell you back in our day.
Well, it's D7. That was
D7. Yeah.
D7. Yeah.
And in our day, there was respect for people's camp spots. You know, nobody goes to the woods camp spot. So there's no stealing. Nowadays, everybody steals any camp spot. It was like first get. But in our time, nobody touches it. We had the whole valley like kind of like to ourselves, and the Bigfoot encounter just happened to be one of the normal days that we're on a normal hunt. Like, you know, we get up in the morning, half the team goes on feet, the other half go in a car. Usually the older people because they can't walk as good as the young people. You know, like any other day, it was just a normal when we had that encounter.
The big ass hominids, what he is.
Because I always try to think, you know, Bob, you know, there was 11 of us, and I always like ask Bob, you know, before we went on that morning, you know, do we ever remember anything different before we went on that morning? And I don't remember anything different. It was just like we called it, my Uncle John, he called it the Indian breakfast, where you just take over whatever you had last night, you just put it together, threw eggs on it, and there's your breakfast.
Yeah, you throw an egg on whatever that dinner was. And
whatever your dinner was.
Yeah,
and
big old hominid. Everybody in their Bigfoot. I don't believe in Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot's fake. But however, there is a hominid. There is a hominid out there. There's a humanoid hominid out running around out there. Big fucker too. Yeah, seen its bones at the Smithsonian. Ouch.
Yeah.
It's got a Newcomb's crest. Oh.
Okay, so Bob, now you said the word hominid. Now, when people in the chat hearing that word, they probably might not know what you're talking about when you're saying hominid. So what's a hominid?
A hominid is a early form of human species. It is a human species. It's there's multiple different species of hominid that walked the planet long time ago. Multiple different genetically whatever you've just. I mean, even Neanderthals. You know, they're all we all just say generally hominid, which is a hominid. You know, they're proto-human, again, you know, you got your Homo sapiens and Homo sapiens, and then you got your Neanderthals, and then you got the Denisovans, and you got this, and you got that, and you beat it with a wiffle ball, and I'm on the run. The cops got our guns, and all them crazy ass animals that walked around back then with it was just multiple different species of human. Depends on your environment and where you're from. They even got. I was on an expedition for archaeology and anthropology because it's a mixed group. And we were in an island out there outside of East Timor. I'm not going to talk about where it's at, but they were looking for the Hobbit. And so what happened was you had this amateur freaking geologist go into a cave and find bones that were of a smaller species of hominid. And being the dumbass that he is, it's not an archaeologist. He didn't even do the context of the entire cave. He's just picking up pieces and taking pictures of it. Didn't even measure anything. He just botched the whole freaking research thing. So University of Washington, we were doing something else, so we had to stop in there to take a look at the cave and see where all these whatever little hobbits they called them, the hobbits. They're but it makes sense genetically that they would be small because we have evidence of, say, for an example, elephants that are large on mainland, but when these larger animals get to islands, because of the resources and the food, the larger ones die. It's survival of the fittest, and the smaller ones, it's reverse, will live. So it's like when you have a bunch of puppies and they're all huskies, and all of a sudden you have one runt being born in mainland, that runt will die with the pack because he's not strong enough. However, on an island, the larger dogs die and the runt is the survivor. And the smaller the animal, the more the female wants the smaller animal because the smaller animal eats less resources, can do just as more, can hide better, can do anything on a smaller substrate, a smaller island. So even when you take humans and trap them on an island for a long, long time and resources get less and less and less and less and less, and they haven't had the ability to build a boat yet, they're going to get smaller. And so all these humanoids, hominids got smaller on these islands, and a lot of animals were small on that island. It's kind of weird.
So did you guys both experience this at the same time? So you think, Dr. Wu, that you saw like a hominid, and Eric, you think it's kind of more like a Bigfoot, or are you describing the same thing?
Well, I mean, Bigfoot is just a name, right? So, I mean,
Right.
technically, all the
Yeah.
Bigfoots could be all hominid because they're just names. I mean, people have the Dogman name, they have the Skunk Ape names, they have all these different names. The Yeti, technically, it could all just be like Bob's saying, a hominid. I mean, same thing in a way because we don't have one in our backyard to test DNA exactly on how far they go back. But Bob's describing another name of. People are calling a Bigfoot, so
it's an evasive hominid. So I gave you guys the context and how hominids got smaller on smaller resource islands, and anything large animal gets smaller and smaller and smaller with smaller resources islands. So now you have a hominid on a large island, which is a continent. Okay, so you've got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of resources. So they get bigger and bigger and bigger with more resources, just the same way as anything else that gets bigger and bigger and bigger with more resources. So you could have this hominid get larger and larger. And because they're so large, it's telling me that they live longer.
Hmm.
We have it's called telomeres, and so imagine a bookshelf. So you are a bookends. So you have a bookends, and inside of it's a set of books, and every single one of them books is your DNA, and it's an instruction manual, which is an RNA within the DNA. RNA is what everyone got the shots and all that shots. He gave you guys new RNA. I never got one, but anyway, everyone's got new RNA, which is fucked up. Anyway, so within them bookends, you have these two telomeres, and these telomeres are the things that dissolve first. And when they dissolve, your DNA starts to unravel like you got a burnt piece of twine or rope, and then after it frays up, it starts to unspin. Well, you start to degenerate. You start breaking down. You start getting old, and you start to die. Now, if you had a species of hominid that had stronger telomeres that did not unravel like the end of a rope, they can live much, much, much longer. So when you look at these large hominid walking around, they're probably old as hell. They're probably could be up to 800 years old. That's why they're getting taller and taller. And you can always tell by the brow. Also, your ridge here gets larger the longer you live. So when you see a hominid that's like 8 foot tall, and he has a huge ridge here, that is a dead 1,000% indicator that he's old. Like he's lived a long time. Like he continues to live, you know? And when you're 800 years old and humans' life expectancy, we're just now getting old enough to make it to like maybe 80. Humans basically will just say 90 cutoff point. So humans come and go to them. If they're 800 years old, you know, they know how to get away from a human because you're like nothing to them.
And
that's why they get away. Everyone's like, how do they get away? Well, they're 800 years, could be 1,000 years old. And you're just what, 60? I mean, what is that to them?
Well, see, people, that's what an archaeologist is. They, they study what the data they have in front of them. They study, what it could be. That's what a good
Bigfoot
archaeologist. I know a lot of people in chat when they hear stuff like this, they're like, "Is he talking about?" No, he's a University of Washington graduate archaeologist. That's how they think with the data. And
when people look at the foot and they go, "Oh my God, look at the big old foot." Yeah, I'm like, yeah. What else do you see? Well, it's a big foot and. The metacarpals, the phalanges, what are you looking at? What are you seeing right there? Oh, it's a big old foot. I said, okay, man, you're looking at age, man. That's age. It's age. The size of the foot is the age. The brow is the age. The nuchus crest is the age. The body stature, you're looking at the age. You're not looking at the size of the foot. Now, women look at the size of foot on men for another reason. That's different. That's a whole different conversation.
That's a different show.
It's a different show. But when men and women, they will look at the size of the foot. Other than the women go, "Oh my God, can you imagine?" You know, but the men are like, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, the men are like, "Oh, it's a big foot. I don't get it." It's like, no, it's. Other than the women laughing, you got to look at the age of that animal. That animal, that primate, it's got an age to that foot. So when people look at the foot, you got to look at those. You got to look at specific things within that foot to tell its age. So when people have castings, they're like, "That's a big foot." I'm like, "Yeah. What else are you looking at? Look at the foot. Look at the joints on the toes."
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to determine the age of the primate. That's what you should be looking for, not the size of the foot, as the women laugh. Think of other things. That's why another thing is, I'm like, okay, you have a 14 or not 4. Let's say like I don't know what 18 foot. I don't know. What does that tell you about the size of the genitalia? Outside of laughing, it does say something about the genitalia. It is important. When you look at scat, you got to look at the scats. You got to know what they're eating. What does it look like? What is their digestive systems? What kind of enzymes and acids do they have? What are they able to eat? If you see traces of what looks like apparently a thick type of root, that requires very large molars and very large teeth to chew that, which requires more muscle, which requires that volume of muscle requires what they call on the like gorillas have that big old head. They have a Newcomb's crest, which is like the center thing on their bone, where the muscles come down from, which function to your jaw. So just by looking at the scat, you could say to yourself, that dude has to have a huge ass jaw and a lot of muscles on his jaw, which is telling me he's got to have a Newcomb's crest to hold all them muscles. So when I always talk about people, when I hear Bigfoot hunters that are amateurs, I'm like, can you tell me more? Tell me what you see here. It's the Bigfoot. Very good. Anything else? Can you fill in the blanks a little bit with a little bit more? What kind of hair do they have? Because like bears are they could change color anywhere they are in their environment.
Hey Bob, what's the info on double row teeth?
Yeah, that's a bunch of BS. That's another one of those things. There is no double row teeth. There is no such thing as double row teeth. What you have is any. Now, that's a good question though. That's a very good question. I'm going to explain that to you guys. Now, we're talking about an infant that's human. And when you have a little kid, you have baby teeth and big teeth. Baby teeth and big teeth. So when a child that hasn't got rid of his baby teeth yet, or just at the point where they're growing the big teeth and the small teeth, if they died and you picked up their skull, guess what you're going to have? Double row teeth. You have double row teeth. You must be a Bigfoot. No, you have double row teeth because you have your baby teeth and your big teeth are replacing yourself. Now, if you have a hominid that lives, let's say, 1,000 years, maybe they don't teeth at the same time scale as a human. Maybe they teeth maybe after 300 years. So maybe
that makes sense.
300.
Doesn't it? It actually does.
300 years. It's the teeth. So they have 2 rows of teeth. What you have is just like a human. They've got adult teeth and baby teeth. So now you have a full-size, what looks like a grown human giant, but it's not a human giant. It's a baby. He's only 300 years old. You see, out of 1,000, he's only 300 years old. So he's still got his baby teeth. And when you see the skull, you're seeing 2 rows of teeth. So that is a good question. So yeah, I hope that answered that. Yeah,
I've never heard that about Bigfoot having 2 rows. I always thought it was the giants that had 2 rows of teeth.
Could be the same species. It could be the same species. And so, so that's what that means. So when you're talking about 2 rows of teeth, you're talking about baby teeth, but a very large baby, a 300-year-old big baby, like a big baby, like a 7-foot baby with baby teeth. Good question.
Let me ask
What do
you
you
this,
guys remember about the experience that you had? What?
Garrett, I was actually going to ask Dr. Wu this now, Bob. When we had our experience, and you know, there was 11 people. That's the best part. There was the whole hunting team was there. That's the best part. So we all know we saw something that wasn't normal.
Yeah,
hominid or Bigfoot. Do you think, by any chance, that's the reason when you saw it? That was kind of the reason why you went into archaeologists, because you want to know more of what you saw?
No, I just like. I took, I did one of those back of the magazine questions where they say, if they gave you $1 million, what would you do for a living? I'd say, well, I want to go camping. And that's basically what it is. Like a guy, I'm sure if she handed him like a magazine and says, honey, here's a magazine, and if you had $1 million, what would you do? I bet you, your name is Gerald or Gerald or Gail? What's your name? Daryl. I bet Gerald will say, I want to go fishing. And he'd become a professional fisherman. It's like he'd become a biologist. What do you do, Gerald? I'm a fish biologist, by God, because that's what he wants to do. Because like if you had $1 million, what would you do? Because that makes you happy. So I like going out in the field. I like looking for junk. I like looking at things in the ground. I like just looking at things that are old. I like anything. I like puzzles and pieces and put things together and try to fill in the blanks. But yeah, I saw that big ass, dirty ass animal, but I mean, it wasn't my inspiration for it. I mean,
I was just curious.
Yeah.
But how about this? Because when we So basically,
Yeah.
what happened? We all went camping. Of course, we all know we're on a hunting trip. Bob was with the team on feet. I was with the older people in the car. And then we met up where these big 3-ass rocks. We always remember that, the 3 big rocks. That was like our point where like we all kind of meet up and we all kind of drive back to camp and and then but Bob, when we were driving, of course it was Uncle Johnny was the one who spotted it, because I remember him saying, "What the fuck is that?" You know, it was like Uncle Johnny has that voice of hearing it. Now you of course Bear Grease, our cousin Daryl, Davey and all that. You guys all like, because the names I'm giving people, they were teenagers. I was 4 years younger than them. You guys automatically, after Uncle Johnny said that, you guys automatically grabbed your stuff and went after it. And of course, all the rest of us follow. Then me and Kenny, because Kenny was my age, we follow you guys down it. But Bob, why did you guys want to chase it? Was it because you actually wanted to capture it?
No, we thought it was a bear. I mean, it's bear season too. I mean, I don't kill bears. We don't eat bears, but it's still bear season. We had bear tags. We're just gonna chase. We
always had one person that had beer tags just in case there was a bear.
We have an uncle that likes to eat.
So Bob, when was it you realized that it wasn't a normal bear?
When it was fucking standing upright and walking. Well, it was long striding through the bushes, evasively.
I just had to ask that because you said bear, bear season, you want to capture a bear, but then when you got your stuff, there had to be that second where
when everyone talks about seeing a Bigfoot, they say there's this big ass tall thing that walks upright. Hell no, they don't. They stoop down into the bushes. They walk with their arched in because they're following the camouflage trails. If they're 800 years old, they're going to follow the lines of the brush. They're not going to stand there and look at you. I'm hearing guys' stories. I'm like, okay, so you saw a Bigfoot stand in front of you. Yes. What did its genitals look like? That's my biggest question. What do you mean? If a large, naked, hairy man stood in front of me, you don't look at his dick. Or you have a large, hairy-ass woman, a female hominid, obviously got breasticles right in front of your face. You don't recognize, you don't look at it. Do you not see? I mean, it's naked. You're going straight for the genitals, man. I'm like, oh, shit, they are circumcised. You're going right at it. Like, what do you see? I just got cut into its stare. What stare? What are you talking about? Anyway.
How close did you guys see this?
Oh, we were down. It was going. It was moving fast.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It is doing its duck and cover, but it's on 2 legs. So it's either a man, and there ain't no man in no hair suit running around down there. That thing was.
Yeah, this was 1984. Nobody had camera phones. There was nothing like that back in 1984. People were real hunters.
Yeah, you had a
because you'll get shot in '84 if you're trying to play a game. People shoot first, ask questions later.
You're not wearing a fur coat running around there. So you had a bear on its 2 legs, evasively bending down and around brushes, moving it pretty fucking good along the lines. There's a river, that stream, and it goes to a meadow. It's all flat out where water runs out into a meadow. It gets kind of swampy in certain parts, and this thing's just stomping through it like nothing.
Hey, Bob, somebody wrote Polaroid. Listen, no offense, Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. Nobody in our camp had money for a Polaroid.
Who has a Polaroid? Who's hunting with a Polaroid?
Nobody. No hunters had a Polaroid.
I'm not gay, so I don't carry a camera. I mean, number one, if I have anything in my pocket, it's a pack of smokes or a beer. I mean, I'm not going to walk around with I got a camera. Oh, my God, I'm going to look at birds. Oh, my God, did you see that? What kind of bird is that? Like, I don't know. I'll shoot it. If it eats good, if it tastes good, I'll shoot it.
Well, think about this. You're hunting deer, right? And you see one. You're not going to pull out a camera and take a picture first.
Take a picture of it first.
Or you're going to lose it, because once the deer hears any bit of you, it's gone.
If I can have you move a little bit more into the sunlight, I want a background picture of this perfect animal. I'm like, nah, man. your heart's pumping, you're looking for something a trophy to shoot, and you're like, if it's legal and you have the tag for it, and you're going to eat it, and you're gonna brag to your cousins, you're gonna be that guy, you're gonna have that mounted, you're gonna have that carpet, or you're gonna have whatever it is that you've just hunted. We're hunters. But obviously, it was not anything you can hunt or shoot.
Now, don't get me wrong. People did take pictures when we're at the camp spot, like having a fire. That's why we have like some pictures. But nobody is taking the camera out in the field hunting deer to damage. Because you got to understand, these cameras back in our day, these things weren't cheap.
Yeah, well, they
not taking it out in the woods.
And somebody did, obviously. We had them old Polaroid ones where they come out. They did have one in the vehicle, but you're not grabbing that. You're grabbing your rifle. You're hunting. It's a bear. You're chasing down a bear, and that bear is walking. You're like, oh no, oh, there ain't no bear, dude. This thing is evasive, and when people talk about getting in pictures of those things are old and they're evasive, and they know how to camouflage themselves, and they've been there for, again, I'm estimating 800 years. They've watched that side of that mountain change for 800 years. They've watched rains come, snows comes. They know every brush, every tree. They know the smells. They know the animals. They know where to eat. They got 800 years to know where everything's at. So that's why people can't get them. That's just the bottom line. That's because they're old. I mean, I can tell by the ridge on there. The thing looked back over its shoulder. It has no neck. It looked back, and I was like, you could see the damn ridge on the corner of his. That's a man.
Well, Bob, that's what I explained it. Like when you were in the Navy, I know you guys. Some of you guys got in trouble. And you guys had to train with the Navy SEALs because you guys got in trouble. Not to become a SEAL, and SEALs are trained to hide. They're trained to where you don't see them.
Yeah.
And they're trained that. Now, these things are 800, like you're saying, 800 years old. These things are trained. I mean, they know they're like the SEALs, the Green Berets. They know. I mean,
they know every rock.
They could be behind you and you wouldn't know.
They know every rock. The animals know them because they were there before the animals were born. They were there when they were babies. They were there when the birds, like a crow knows you when it's like birds know you. You guys know what I'm talking about. You have a tree in your backyard and there's a nest in it. And every year there's a nest with birds going there. And you go out there and you probably throw bread down for the mom and dad bird, whatever. And then birds get familiar with you. They know you. They're not scared of you. They know you're not going to hurt them. They know they can get their emotions and feelings. So these animals obviously know every animal that's been there. They've been there before that animal was born. Probably they know every animal. And they probably, obviously, with that size body, they must eat protein. So they know where the protein is. They know where they can eat. They probably know where they defecate. They probably know everything there is to know that whole area. They know where to sleep. They know what caves are in that area. They probably dug a cave. I mean, obviously these guys are nocturnal. Clearly they're nocturnal because any photographer picture they have, their eyes have a certain shim light to them, like a cat at night, nocturnals. So they're night hominid. When we say that, I would say animals. I always consider humans animals, but they're night animals, night hominids. So they know everything. They know it forward and backwards. You're not going to get them. It's just not. They know every log that fell, and I imagine these guys probably like you said, Navy SEALs. They probably make an evasive ground where they can get out of an area. They know where trees are knocked down. They probably knocked them down themselves. They know where to leap over. They were babies jumping over trees. They know everything. So yeah, that's why I hear people talk about trying to go get them. I said, good luck. Those things know.
How tall do you think it was? Was it like 9-10 foot tall, or?
I would guess maybe.
Sorry. My dog was crying.
Going down a gradient and standing upright, number one, is the first flag. I would probably guess maybe 8 foot, 9 foot. I mean, I would say the general 8, right? I love that, just 8. About 8. Big back. You know what I'm saying? Big
right.
back. Big back. No neck. Big back. And then working with the bushes all the way through everything. Obviously this is their home. We were invading.
It's a puppy.
He's
Oh, she's
big
3 years old.
English,
Who's making all this noise back here?
English bulldog.
Oops, there you go.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. So yeah, obviously it's an early species of hominid. It's probably a Gigantopithecus that got smaller. If I were to take a guess, it's a Gigantopithecus that crossed over the Beringia land bridge. Just like every other culture that came over from the bridges this direction, and then the Scandinavians and everyone came over that direction. Everybody comes over, and then all the ships came over and followed the coastlines all the way around to the thing. So obviously there was a long time ago, probably a Gigantopithecus that came out of Asia. There were huge gorillas, big guys, walked on their two hind legs, got into an area where you had the Ice Age, which is less resources, less this, less that, and then as the way how selectability goes for females to males, obviously the females would pick a smaller male, and over time you would have a smaller male, and over time you just have a smaller upright walking gorilla. It's obviously an evolved Gigantopithecus. You know what I mean? If I was to take a guess at it, everyone says pick one. It's a Gigantopithecus.
Yeah.
Damn thing.
And to this day, Gerald and Jane, not one person in our group ever thinks anything different. We know what we saw, that wasn't a bear. Not one person has ever changed. Like, you know what? Maybe really, no, not one person. We all knew what it was. It just, and when people talk about like reports and numbers and percentages of how many states seen what, there's 11 of us, and not one of us on our group has ever turned in any report to any organization on sightings.
Yeah, I haven't
hunters don't care to, So numbers doesn't really. Who cares about numbers? Because we really don't know how many are in certain states.
Yeah, with something that old, you don't mess with. Something that stinks too. Something that smells that bad. Now humans. Here's another thing about it being a hominid. Humans have a biological adaptation. We stink. We can't smell it because we are the ones putting out the stank. Women, they do a test where a woman has a set of T-shirts, and one of them's her brother's, and she'll smell the T-shirts, and for some reason, inevitably, she's like, "Oh my God, this one stinks." This is the worst one, and it's always her brother. It's always a relative. They've done that experiment a lot, and it's really proven pretty solid with that one. So humans have a biological adaptation. We stink. All primates smell, and that's a biological defense mechanism against other animals, because other animals can smell us. We stink. That's why bears don't want to eat you. They'll defend themselves against you, and animals don't prefer humans because we got parasites. We're worse than any other. We're disgusting. We got nothing. We smell, and they stink. And so when they talk about these evasive hominid having a stank to them, I'm like, yeah, that's us. That's the hominid. That would make sense. They call them the skunk apes. Skunk apes, yeah. Hell yes. They would stink as a biological defense mechanism against predators. So, the lion comes around the corner. Oh, that smells. Oh God! Imagine their urine probably stinks too.
Well, here's a question for people in the chat. A little guessing question, because a college studied this. This is a true study. If a woman and a guy both ate the exact same food, what gas fart will smell worse, a woman or a guy? Right? Exact same food, right? Now, they did a study on this, and now every person probably said it's always going to be the man that's going to stink worse than the woman. And they said, nope, it's the woman who stinks worse than the guy, because the difference is the woman puts on makeup versus the guy does. So the woman keeps putting chemicals in the body when the man and woman ate the exact same food. Now, we live in a day now, men put on makeup too now, but more or less, women put on makeup, men don't. So naturally, the woman will stink worse than the guy if they ate the exact same food.
Within the context of science and biological defense mechanisms against predators. So everyone understand that. And we're talking about why Bigfoot has a stink to him. That's why. Now, I doubt if Bigfoot uses any kind of, but they eat whatever they eat too.
But-
will
but
come out of
Bob,
their
here's another
secrete out of their
question.
pores.
Now, as an archaeologist and all that, like you said,
Ah.
Bigfoot knows the area. Bigfoot knows everything. Do you think because we camp at the same spot every single year, we don't go to different spots?
Yeah, he
Don't
knew
you
us,
think
yeah.
that maybe that
Yeah.
Bigfoot knows us, knows
knew-
our
he knew us.
smell? Because
He knew us.
we're the same family
Mhm.
there. And
knew us.
our
Mhm.
our family has always taught us kids, you must respect nature. If you respect the nature, you follow the rules and laws,
Yeah.
they're nothing, they won't harm you.
Yeah, he knew us. He knew us because we've been going there since we're little kids. We've been running that same area, hunting that same path. That's why our uncles and our dad knew that we were familiar with that entire area. We can always make it home. We're not going to get lost because we've been there since we were kids. We knew that same area over and over. We hunted it our whole life. And obviously that damn thing's been watching us. That hominid has been watching us since we were little kids. I mean, he knew what we were. He probably heard us, and he come out to see us like a curious kid. He might even been young. He might have been only 400 years old. You know what I mean? He could have been young, and he's like, "Oh, there's the loud, stinky kids, that come out and run around." He probably recognized us every year. We go there every year at the same time, so we would go there the same type of season. So every season he comes to the same area, probably going with his smells, looking around, just smelling around, probably listening to us and probably watching us the whole time and saying, "Oh, there they are," just like a big kid. I imagine they're just like big kids.
Mhm.
But really smart though.
Now, back when this happened, when you guys all experienced this, you and your family or cousins or whatever are with you,
Yeah.
did you guys think though that it was a Bigfoot? Like the creature, not now that you're educated and archaeology and all that, going towards the
100%.
humanoid, but at the time when you first saw it,
100%. Nobody thought it was a bear. Not one person. Everybody knew exactly what it was.
It was Bigfoot. It is a Bigfoot. No, it's Bigfoot. It's like, oh, that's Bigfoot. That is just Bigfoot.
No doubt in anybody's mind.
right?
Either be a mythology but that's a joke too. Like you're in camp, you hear a rock being thumped. Oh, that's just Bigfoot. It becomes a joke too. But at the same time, you at 1 out of 10, you might be right. There's no fear in that. There's no fear in. I didn't feel any fear. I felt no fear. I just felt fascinated, mostly in shock, but kind of fun and giggly at the same time. That's just Bigfoot. So it becomes a joke. Hey, we saw Bigfoot finally.
Yeah, and Gerald Jen, and this is true. Our family talked about respecting the forest, the Bigfoots, and all that.
Yeah.
And I remember going to school when people are saying Bigfoot's a myth, like
Right.
Santa Claus, and
Right.
really he's considered a myth because it was talked to us like this is their land. There wasn't internet, there wasn't. We live in Kermit. I think we had maybe one tiny little library. There was no books on Bigfoot.
Well,
Right.
people don't realize it because the way our minds think. So when you go camping, you're in a spot, and this is the outer area where it's closer to a civilization, and then you have maybe a few miles going into the forest, and you have whatever camps or people kind of going in, but that's just a small area. Behind that, you've got hundreds of miles of mountains and forest that nobody's into. Nobody's there. No, you might have a ranger station has a fire station, like maybe, but there's nobody 100 miles in. Everybody's it's like Australia where everyone lives at the beach area. So there's always so far that people go into a forest. And when you're in residential, you're only so far. So when they come into residential and people see them, it's because they want to be seen, or they're looking at you as just as curious as you're looking at them. And then they go back home. And when they go back home, they go back into the forest where there's nobody like they can go 20, 30, 40, 50 miles back in there and ain't nobody there.
But Bob, we only talked about this a little bit. We all know California had the great fires, Washington,
Oh,
Oregon.
it's so bad.
Mhm.
What do you think? happens where the Bigfoots go now? Like you said, they know the area, but a lot of
Yeah.
the area, like you said, we camped at is all burnt up.
Wow.
Where do you think they go now?
Well, I'll tell you what. Now, if they are, and I know they are over, I'm just using the number 800. They're used to it. It's not the first time it's something caught fire. They're not. It's
Oh,
not
that
new
makes
to
sense.
them.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
true.
new to them. It's not. It's new to us. We're the youngins. They're not the youngins. It's not
That's
new
true.
to us. So when they smell, they're 800 years old. So when they smell a little bit of smoke, they know there's fire. And their ass is going 40, 50 miles back into that forest, probably where they all meet up. There's nobody in there. There's nobody there. There's nobody in that dense forest back in there. There's no humans back there. There's no human. There's no food for you to eat back there.
Oh yeah,
You have to.
there's
you'd have to
areas
take-
that humans can't get to.
You would have to take horses in there. You'd have to ride horses miles and miles in there, to go back that far. They're back in there. Everyone says, "Where are they at?" What are you talking about? You're just on the outer 20, man. You're on the south 40. They're in the freaking innie. They're like 40, 50 miles that way. They
Yep.
could have whole areas in there. You wouldn't.
What do you
see
think
'em.
about them going in like the cave systems or inner
Yeah.
earth or
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Especially and okay, so when you're talking geology, you're also talking about magma chambers. Magma chambers, because everything used to be way back when it used to be volcanoes and magma and lava, and you have magma tubes or lava tubes, or you have magma chambers, and you have natural erosion tunnels all up in there. And if they're if you could obviously tell that they're they obviously live in tunnels. I would live there. Our ancestors lived in caves. It was the smartest place to live. That's
Yeah.
that's where the caveman concept came from. So obviously they're in caves. That would be the perfect. They're not going to build a house. There's a cave. There's hundreds of caves. Hundreds of caves with stalactites and stalagmites and all kinds of caverns and stuff. It's a wonderful place for them to live for protection. But if they're the dominant species, other than maybe a grizzly bear, but I would think their best defense mechanism, this is just me guessing, would be that the fact that they stink so bad. They stink. So when they go into a cave, that would be a great concept for a biological defense mechanism, because when a grizzly bear comes across that bear's like, oh hell no. Oh god.
Mhm.
Makes
Smells like their
sense.
stank
Yeah.
urine. They probably got stink like cat spray urine. They probably got cat spray urine and adaptation. They stink. I would not be an animal. I would not go in that cave. If I was a human, oh god. Oh, what is that? Pneumonia? I would not go in that cave. So yeah, correct.
Yeah, humans would
caverns.
throw up when something
Yeah.
smells too bad.
And it would make sense that they have a nocturnal eyes, and it would make sense that they stunk like that. That is an adaptation for something that lives in a cave, like a troglodyte. You know what I mean? So yeah, cave systems, based off the biology and the way people describe them, a cave would be a great place for them to live. Oh my goodness. With their adaptations. That would be a great adaptation in a cave. You ever go to a guy's room? Oh, dude, shut your door, man. You need to open your window, man. You need
Yeah.
a fan in there or something, because every guy in there, every guy stinks.
Dirty
you go-
socks.
Dirty socks, right? That is a biological defense mechanism. Men have filthy, stinky feet. Bigfoot, that's a biological defense mechanism. That is actually a biological defense. Men smell like dirty, smelly armpit. That is a biological defense mechanism. You're not supposed to be using deodorants as men. You're not supposed to. Women either. That's a biological defense mechanism that nature gave you. You should not be taking it.
Hey, Bob, what is your take on the dog man?
I hear the stories of Dogman all the time, and I've seen zero evidence other than people's fantasy stories. I have heard, I could understand that there is in the world of science, there is a hominid. Now, having said that, let me stretch an idea. Now, this is me. There's no evidence for it. This is me talking. Okay, so you got two species, I'm gonna go in some breakdowns here fast. You got two species. You got an R. And I know everyone's like, here we go with the blood type again. Yeah, but it's important. Rh positive blood types have high iron in their blood. Another species of animal that has high iron in their blood are primates, monkeys, high iron blood. Rh negatives have high copper in their blood. Only other species that has high copper are fish, octopi. Certain species of fish have high iron or high copper. Another type of would be like, say, a porpoise, or you have a dolphin. They have some of them have a copper. And so if you have two lines of evolution, you have one that followed the line onto land as became primates, and one of them was a dolphin, and dolphins are probably more similar to humans than freaking primates are. Dolphins have a particular pragmatic face. So if you have a dolphin that obviously came from the land sometime, because he's a mammal. Dolphins are mammals. They're males. They're not males. They're mammals. They're vertebrate mammals. So if you have an evolutional path for a dolphin with a large pragmatic face, and you have a separate species that basically either became dolphins or dolphins became them, you would look similar to a dogman if you had two separate evolutionary lines. And it would make sense that bottom line is a dogman could have been evolved from a dolphin, which is a mammal, or they became dolphins backwards or forward, whatever. So it's plausible in the lines of evolution if they had come from dolphins. You know what I mean? I don't know how weird that may sound. So you have that particular face. It's not like the other primates' face, because they came from the evolution of a primate. These came from evolution of a dolphin, which you would call a dogman. I'm only guessing this.
Now, what about the
What
theory
that they came from maybe the hyena line?
The hyena, right? You know, hyenas, yeah. You know, they're a unique species by themselves. They're a very unique species. And, they could have, the hyenas on the same, we're talking about a chain of evolution, could have come from dolphins. Or hyenas became dolphins later on. Anyway, because there's a whole new mental concept for people to consider is you got to look at the dolphins and say they came from somewhere and they're mammals. And they have, if you take them and x-ray them, you could see the carpals and metacarpals. You could see that they were a land animal. So they could have become the hyena. And the hyena are backwards or forwards. And they could have evolved into a different type of not a hominid, but a different type of species that are similar looking to a hominid.
Well, here, Bob, how about this, Bob? Let me ask you this, because you know a lot about bees, right?
Oh,
the bee species, you got the soldiers, you got the workers.
Yeah.
There's bees that have certain jobs. I'm just saying, what if Bigfoot clan, like maybe some of when they're born, some of them are soldiers, like the guardians to protect the camp, and those are the ones that look like the dogman, because they're soldiers. You got the workers, you got like bees do. What if that possibility?
Yeah, because to start off, because to give a context, so you have a female queen bee, and all bees are female, with the exception of a few that are born male. And the males, they are 100% matrilineal. So the males take care of the queen, and they mate the queen only. And so the female queen selects her own they're dainty little males. They're weaker, smaller, little ass bees that do nothing but bang the queen. And they have one job, is to take care of the queen, and that's how they were born, and that's how they were raised. They're the only males of the bees, and then the rest are all the bees that fly around are all females. And you have the bees, the worker bees that go out and do whatever they got to do. And then they come in, and you've got specific bees with specific jobs, and nature designed them that way. And correct, you could have a particular species that have adapted not so much as their larynx isn't as well as ours, and we could speak. Maybe they use it telepathically. Obviously, they use it telepathically, and they speak to each other telepathically. So you can have a structure if they didn't have the capacity to speak to each other telepathically, yeah, that's how they would have to do it. That's how they would have to form and line themselves up. Because as soon as we developed a larynx and we're talking, we can start swearing as men. We can start becoming independent as men, and we can start telling that queen bee to fuck off. I'm not doing this. I don't like you, queen. You hear my voice? I have a larynx now. Now we're going to move into patrilineal societies because men are louder with deeper voices, so women become smaller. Whatever, they switch the evolutional line once men start to learn to speak. But yeah, there's no speech, and women have a stronger mental. Yeah, then men become weak and docile, and yeah, that's what you have with bees. You have little male procreators. Good, yeah.
And I always say it's hard enough to try to get somebody to believe in Bigfoot, and if you go straight to Dogman, they're gonna look at you like, what?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's plausible when you're talking about evolutional lines. It depends on what species they came from. But yeah, it is plausible because you have two separate species of human. You've got a biological Rh positive, which is a high iron, and a Rh negative, which is a high copper. So obviously they came from two separate lines, and Rh negatives have zero, not one, no genetic connections to any primate. They have no genetic primate whatever gene at all. Only the Rh positives do. So they came from somewhere. So maybe the Rh negatives in a hypothetical came from the dolphin line. And maybe the Dogman came from the same dolphin line. Because obviously you have two separate species of human.
And again, people, we're talking theories here. We don't know exactly. We all have the answers and why we here.
Yeah, or
Right.
you have or it's a mutation down the line, and that where everyone says because the mutation.
Humans on this planet all looks different.
Mhm.
Maybe different Bigfoots just have the different look. Some more out like a dog. Some more in.
The fact is in an argument. If you want to make an argument, here's the fact: you have two species of human with two different genetics. Not a conspiracy, not a whatever's, a fact. You have this genetic adaptation human and this genetic adaptation. Completely separate blood types. Completely different genetics when it comes down to certain DNA strands. It blows the scientist's mind. Like, as an anthropologist, where did they come from? The only Rh negative high copper blood come from the ocean that come from fish. So how does a human have the same blood as an octopus? How does this 10% of the world's population, this small 10% of the world population, have the same blood as an octopus or anything in certain species of fish, and the majority of people have the same blood type as a primate, as a high iron, and so you do have a split. So who's to say that a Dogman did not come from that same aquatic evolutional line from the ocean in a different whatever area, and looks different? And can be different genetically, deep in the forest somewhere, running around. Came from the dolphin. He's not. We associate him with a werewolf because we watch the movies. I enjoy good movies of werewolves, but maybe he's not a werewolf. Maybe he's a dolphin man.
So,
You know what I mean?
This is a question.
Yeah.
If you would take your scientific aspect out of the equation, how do you feel about like the paranormal or the ET theories, or Dogman or government created out of labs? And I mean, you hear all these theories and all these people talk about that.
Yeah, you're correct all across the line. Genetic manipulation is done 100% now. It's not a conspiracy. It's being done now. You guys know about Dolly. You guys all know about Dolly. Dolly was made in the lab. You have a genetic adaptation. You have people playing around. They have humans that have 3 different donors. You can have 3 different humans with their DNA put into one human. So you have now humans with 3 different DNA. We are manipulating all kinds of genetics right now. In the days of Noah, right? So we're doing it now. It's not a myth. I've seen it myself with my own freaking one eye. And because I only have one working eye. And I've seen all the stuff at the Smithsonian. So there is genetic manipulation. It's a fact. And it's regular available information for you to look up. It's not a myth. It's being done in labs. You can go research it yourself. Oh my God, they are doing it. They're bringing back a mammoth. They're bringing back a mammoth now.
Yep.
Right.
He's scheduled to come back. That is direct evidence of genetic manipulation, and they have been doing it, and they perfected it, and it can be done. So when you're talking about, there's a movie, Tank Girl. You guys ever seen Tank Girl?
Oh yes,
You got to watch.
based off
Tank
a
Girl.
comic book. It's actually a comic book story.
Yeah, Jane, you need to watch Tank Girl after this, and you're gonna look at these kangaroo.
Ice-T's actually is
Yeah.
in it as the dog man.
Kangaroo human hybrids. They've taken genetic materials from humans to make super soldiers, and they used kangaroos. And so you have these kangaroo, they can do that. They can
Wow.
but according to the whatever laws of whatever, they're not allowed to. There's some table that somebody sat down with a bunch of scientists.
Well, they said they're not allowed to.
We can't do this.
Yeah.
We're banning this across the board. It's not a question if it's banned.
Oh, they
it's a
keep it
question of-
underground.
Well, the question is, can they do it? And the answer is yes.
Mhm.
So your answer is
And the next question is, have they done it? Like you said, yes.
yes, they have done it, and we've all seen the evidence for it, and they have done it. Now, when it comes to the paranormal, my theory is that, and I've kind of have an idea with this one, is you have this thing called a pineal gland, right? Remove New Age. We're going to science. Remove all that crap. Pick up your phone and look inside what your phone has. It's called a silica chip. Silica chips has cleavage. Cleavage stores information inside of that material, which is it's a natural material from the ground. It's silica, high silica. You have a pineal gland. It's nothing magical. It's nothing fucking whatevers. It's made of a hard material. It's made of a type of silica that your body produces. The way a clam makes a pearl is the same way your pineal gland is made. Your body makes it itself. It's a little crystal. It's a crystal. And in that crystal can store information just as easy as a silica in your cell phone. Your cell phone stores tons of information in that little teeny weeny little silica chip this big. Your pineal gland is twice its size. So you have this crystal in your brain. How is it that it doesn't store information? It does store information. So when you die, this is what I figured out. When you die, you're dead. You're just dead. So you're bones, you're nothing, but guess what's left over? That little old silica stored information that was part of your pineal gland at one time, and it stored information. So who's to say with a certain electrical whatever's in the area, you're not experiencing what they experienced like on Star Trek, Star Wars. I always joke about Star Wars, where he goes and you got R2D2 and they're cleaning, and this little thing that comes out and it says, Obi-Wan,
Right.
you're our only hope. Obi-Wan, that little stored information.
Hologram.
It's a hologram. So it's information. So everything about that person's personality, everything they've done, all their memories are stored in that little ass chip inside of your head hole. And when you go to a grave or whatever, as you're walking around, it's highly electrical, whatever. All of a sudden, you hear this voice or this, "Hi, have you seen my mommy? I dropped my ice cream. I love banana splits." And you're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Because it's a stored little information from that kid who died like 40 years ago.
Yeah, but do you think an energy like that can last 40 years? I mean, I'm just scientifically.
You got natural erosion. Now it's gonna break down. All silica is gonna break down. It breaks down and goes into your trees. Your trees have nothing but silica. Everything has silica, so it's gonna break down. It's gonna break down. But that's just one aspect idea. So it's stored information in there. It's gonna be in that ground for a while until it breaks down to
No,
whatever.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That
But
is
also-
interesting.
But also, if you have a projector that's projecting all the time and you're surrounded by silica rock, so you got silica around it, and it's if you take a projector, instead of putting it on a white blank, a sheet, and then having it going, let's watch Star Wars, man, turn on the projector. If you project it onto silica, like a wall of silica, well, what's to say that silica can't store that information? It's just storing into a new silica information. So you're moving one silica one silica to another silica. You're transferring data. So you die in a house and all that horrific things happens. Now it's storing into the silica in the walls. The highest percentage of all hauntings are on high silica ground. Lots of quartz. Lots of quartz. Like you go to Indian graveyards. I saw an Indian last night. Don't tell me. Is it lots of quartz? Well, how did you know that? Yeah. Okay. Lots of stored information.
What about
in that ground.
what about the claims that people, like I said, I know
Yeah.
you're just saying theory because like Amber World wrote, I had an entire conversation with the ghost.
I bet you have. I bet you it has intelligence too. It's a stored free information thingy. Who's to say? It's like an AI. You know what I mean? Obviously you're not here. When you die, you're not here. You're another timeline. You've died. Where you didn't die, the multiverse or whatever. You didn't die. However, the avatar that you have here and the stored information you have here and the corpse that you have here is still there. You're a living freaking AI leftover whatever, and it's stored information. And who's to say you can't even have a conversation with it? I mean, it's gonna kind of, it was a living, thinking computer. We're all living, thinking computers. Well, who's to say it can't have a conversation? Who's to say you can't see it walk by and it's gonna look at you like, don't step over there, you can die. You're like, step where? Don't step there, you could die. I don't see any, there's a grocery store there. But in their reality, it used to be at one time a waterfall.
And this is why we investigate, right? Trying to find the truth,
Yeah.
trying to find out what it is.
Yeah, because I see those same things. I talk to them too, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no intelligence in those. I don't feel no intelligence. It's just no different than talking to an AI machine. I'm like, oh, you're just a leftover residual, as they call them, residuals. You're just a residual leftover thinking thing.
But you're open to, but you are open to the idea if we go on our investigations to have that intelligent conversation.
Well, no, there's jinn. There's the jinn and demons. Now they're intelligent and they're in a different realm. They're not ghosts. They're not ghosts though. I mean, understand, they're intelligent in their own dimension. They're smart there. They're just here. We can't see them or can't interact with them, but they interact with us because we have one thing that they can't have. And for a man, that's an erection. They can't have one. However, they can jump into you and enjoy yours. Or a woman that's a little bit horny. They want to be horny. They want to have sex. They can't have it because they don't have it there. So they jump into you as a female. They possess you. They can ask you for possession. May I come into your body? You have to say no. They give you partial possession. Like Eric, you experienced that whatever that followed you back. That's not a freaking ghost. That's I call them jinn, but Christians call them demons. That thing's alive and it's following you around, dude.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's
that's
an
why it's called the
energy
devil's
vampire.
hand. We weren't saying that portal's a ghost.
Yeah, it's
that
an energy
portal is
vampire.
evil.
They feed off you, man, because they don't have that. They don't have that pleasure. They don't have the pain. They're in prison. They would love to be.
But see, that's an interesting. That's an interesting theory in a way because
Yeah.
how did the evil get there, right? I mean, then you go to the next question: how the evil get there and how the good get there? Like, do we become part evil?
There's no such thing as good and evil. It's up to the interpretation of the society you live in. For example, in this culture, they can marry off their daughters at any age to that, but they have a certain law they can't touch them. But, the family says you could marry my daughter, but you can't have anything until she is bleeding or blah, blah, blah. That whole thing. And that's disgusting to an American. But in a culture like whatever, that's normal. They consider that evil there, but it's not evil there. Or it depends on what your definition of evil is. There's no such thing. To kill other males in a competition for food and rations, whatever, how's that evil when you got to feed your family? That's not evil. Taking out the enemy for getting into your cornfields, that ain't evil. That's normal. So there is no good and evil. But what they want is what you have. They want your life. And they want to experience life. They want to trip and fall down and skin their knee and feel it. They want to fall in love. They want to have anger. They want emotions and feelings and stuff. Because think about it. They don't have any of that. They're stuck. They're boring.
if you believe in the dimensional beings, then why
Yeah.
can't Bigfoot or
Oh, yeah.
paranormal stuff come from other dimensions?
Absolutely can. Absolutely. In fact, what I've noticed is particular people can see and other people cannot see. Because you're not
Mhm.
really seeing, you're seeing into a frequency. Because everything's a frequency.
Yep.
Everything's a
Exactly.
frequency. It's a vibration. So
Mhm.
some people
Right.
like can see, like Eric and I went through a windshield. Eric was beautiful in the fact that he was a baby and his body heals great, and he smashed the entire windshield. So I followed right behind him, and I had my head hit up. So my head's been damaged since I was a kid.
Yep.
So,
Still got the baby mark right there of hitting
yeah.
a rock as a baby flying out of a car.
Yeah. So my computer's a little bit broken, so I was always able to see these things, and that's why I could tell that they're not. Some are intelligent, some are just like a projector machine. That's just the humans that are
Yeah.
projector machines. But the jinn, I call them just the jinn, or the demons people call them. They're just these in betweeners. They're the two dimensionals. They're the ones that hide out in your corners of your house, and you gotta smudge it and get them out, and you constantly have to get these things out of here because they want to feed on you. They
Yeah.
want to make you feel bad.
Believe it or not, our grandpa was a minister.
Well, he
In the
used to be
church.
yeah.
He used to call me like the miracle baby, the baby that survived going through a window of a car.
He had them damn things all around him, man. He was always had them things around him. But remember, they feed on you. They feed on your emotion. The more pissed you get, it's like a milkshake for them. They move things so you can get upset. They'll turn your slight switches. They'll cause couples to fight so they can feed on you. They love it because we're their reality TV. Yeah, that's all it is. We're their TV. We watch TV. They watch us. So why would they? Well, everybody loves the reality TV. Why would they not love reality TV? They want to watch a couple fight. I mean, I've seen it. These things are bad. I mean, we've got one running around now. It's pretty fucking bad. So they're bad. Now, the best thing to fight them off with is humor. Keep yourself happy. Keep yourself happy. Now I've noticed she's having a cigarette, and now she's like, I'm happy. You know what?
It's a cigar, actually.
Have a cigar. When you sense that there's a presence around you and there's something bad, and that cigar makes you feel good, that natural tobacco or whatever you have, it makes you feel good. That's fine. He might need a beer, man. He's feeling kind of, now don't be hitting the freaking heavy stuff, because then you're going to become angry, and then you start feeding it. But have a cold beer, eat a shake, a milkshake, be happy, watch something that makes you fucking laugh, have a joint if it makes you laugh, because you got to fight them all the time, because they can turn things on you real fast.
You got to keep your vibrations high. Exactly. They grab a hold of you, they're just going to pull that vibration down.
Yeah, you got to keep your vibration high. You got to keep going high. You got your grandkids, love your grandkids. If you got whatever, if you got a wife, you love your wife. You got a husband, love your husband. Whatever it is, you got to keep that shit going high. You got to keep your vibration high. You got to play jokes on each other and have a good laugh. You got to constantly keep fighting them all the time, because, man, when you get one, you get a lot of them. They're like bees.
So what you're saying is if I go upstairs and go to the wife and go, honey, we got to go in the bedroom because we got to get rid of the demons.
Well,
right?
Yeah. Well, procreation amongst consensual adults, yes.
People, you just learned something today.
If it's mutual, let's use this. If it's mutual, because the other word starts with an R, and that ain't good. And so you're going to feed the demon. So if it's consensual and you're both having a good time with a little bit of whatever's, hell yes. They don't want that. They don't like that good feeling. No.
Right.
Well, I think this is a good point to end the show before Dr. Wu starts getting into birds and bees with everybody.
Yeah, I understand it. I'm good.
So thank you guys for coming on, man. This has been great. We've covered a lot of different subjects, actually. A lot of them I didn't think we were going to go down.
All right.
I had a good time when I was here. Thanks for letting me chat it up. It was fun.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
after
And
this,
we'll,
I'm gonna.
we'll see if your channel's still up by tomorrow morning.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You got,
Well, they gave
you
me
got
a
might be
strike.
the first show that's ever got taken down for us.
Well, I'm on
I
a
don't know.
strike
We'll
right
see.
now. I'm on Bobbity Boo channel right now. Is it Bobbity Boo 334? As soon as this is over, I'm cracking a coldie and I'm gonna smoke a little bit. So
You actually receive a strike.
Yeah, they were gonna.
Ah,
Oh, they were gonna pay me. I was gonna get my first paycheck from the YouTube from all the super chats, and ironically, the day I'm supposed to get that money, I got a strike, and now they put it on.
Ah.
I swear to God, and they put it on a delay. Are you kidding me? Damn. Yeah. So the entity is trying to work its best against me, but I don't care. I'm fine. I got beer. I'm good.
We're just here to have fun and entertain the chat, and we're all friends. We've known each other for a year or more, and keep our vibrations high, laugh, just get silly.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Definitely.
Yeah,
I
especially
agree.
now. Especially right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're under full blown attack, man. Right now, I've never seen it this bad. I ain't ever felt it this bad. This is crazy. But let's end it at that. I'm gonna keep it on a high note.
Right.
well, we'll just go ahead and you guys don't have to leave the screen or anything. We're just going to say bye to chat, and thanks everybody for coming. We love you all. We just like talking about different theories and different ideas. I mean, everybody just has everything, and try to take something out of this conversation and add it to your big piece of puzzle. Try to make
Yep.
your picture make sense to you, and that's all we try to do here.
Yeah. We're all trying to learn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have an open
Find
mind.
the truth. Yep.
Yeah, and never take what anybody says 100% seriously. Write it on a piece of paper, set it aside as a plausibility only.
Right.
Always keep your own ideas. Don't let anybody else ever detour you from your original idea. Just like you said it perfect. Take the piece of the puzzle, set it aside. It might fit somewhere, sometime.
Yeah,
Set it aside.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. We'll just say goodbye to everybody, and we'll just end it here. Love you guys in chat. Love and peace to all of you. Do something nice for somebody else, and love yourself.
and we'll see you Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, we'll be on the Night Owl Lounge, 11 p.m. Central. We'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Love you.